Hey, good morning. I was thinking the other day that in the next several months or so, so many college seniors are going to be graduating, including my future daughter-in-law. And, given our current health crisis, it's going to look so different for her and so many of her friends and others. They're not going to get to celebrate this milestone in person, with their classmates. It's so not what they expected and so unfortunate. And really, to add insult to injury, the job market or lack thereof is so uncertain right now. This level of disappointment combined with the anxiety of an uncertain future certainly doesn't help the mental outlook when they're pondering, that age-old question. So what do you want to do with with your life? Right? It's the obvious question that gets asked of college seniors each year as graduation draws near. But this year is different. In addition to all of our college seniors, there are going to be literally millions of others asking themselves the same question. 30, 40, and even 50-year-olds out of work asking themselves, what am I going to do next? As important a question as this is to answer, I think there's an underlying question that needs attention first. Maybe it's an issue. It's an issue. It's what I call calling. What am I called to do? What's my calling or life purpose? I work with young folks, and that's a question that I hear often, and it's an important question. So, but oftentimes they, like maybe yourself, ask the question, well, aren't they really just the same thing? Job and calling. Many believe they are, and as a result, miss an essential ingredient in discovering meaningful and fulfilling work. It's sort of like making cookies and leaving out the sugar. In the end, they might look like cookies, but man, they're going to taste pretty awful. So I have three perspectives for you to consider that I believe can help you or someone you care about navigate the career decision. And if you think this is just for those that are looking for a job, think again. Working through these perspectives gave me clarity, conviction, and confidence I needed a year ago to leave an existing job and work for myself. So let's unpack the three perspectives. The first perspective is there is no zero defect job, right? Zero defect was a management tool used years ago, maybe it still is, aimed at the reduction of manufacturing defects, reducing the defects in a manufacturing process. Now, trying to prevent imperfections in a manufacturing process might be a worthy goal, but I think it's a fool's errand in searching for a job. This idea that, there's one all satisfying, all everything, zero defect job, it certainly hasn't been my experience. Believing there is a perfect job usually lands us in a state of paralysis. We're afraid of making a wrong decision, and it's this fear that has a way of stopping us in our tracks. It clouds our judgment, thus limiting our ability to make a reasonable decision. So here's a tip that I found helpful as I was processing the decisions of my own job situation a year ago. Perhaps you've heard this before. It's not original, but it is timeless. I like to look at decision-making through two different lenses or perspectives. The first is the perspective of the bullseye. It says that there is only one right decision, like hitting the bullseye on a dartboard. You either hit it or you don't. You make a decision, and if you get it wrong, there is some negative consequence looming over you. And if you get it right, then hey, all is good. I like this perspective if I'm trying to decide whether or not to drive 120 miles an hour down the highway. Now, I like to drive fast, but if I'm honest with myself, there's really only one right decision. Because if I get caught, and I probably will, I've made the wrong decision, and there is certain to be a significant negative consequence. The bullseye applies to decisions that have definite right and wrong choices, which is important. But I find that most of the decisions I'm faced with on a day-to-day basis and some of my bigger life decisions, they don't fall into this category. The other perspective, and the one I find useful for most of life's decisions, is what I call the box perspective. It suggests that there might be several options to choose from, and all pose a relatively equal opportunity to turn out well. If I apply the box perspective to choosing a job, it would allow for several job opportunities, all of which could provide an equal and measurable amount of fulfillment and meaning to my life and to others. Assuming you've gone through a good due diligence process, it says if you have several good options to choose from, none of them are bad. Go ahead and choose. Okay, that's the first perspective. No zero defect job, no perfect job. The second perspective is vocation is more than a job. Your vocation is more than your job. But aren't they the same? Aren't vocation and job synonymous? A current day dictionary definition will tell you that they are, but I think a deeper look tells a different story. One that I believe will be very beneficial in giving us a better perspective on assessing job choices. Let's define them. In maybe its purest form, a job is a transaction that involves you trading your skills and experiences to solve a need in exchange for some form of monetary reward. It's the answer to the question, what do you do? I'm an accountant, I'm a nurse, I'm a consultant, and so on. And a job, it gives us things, right? It gives us a title, it gives us money, it gives us a community, it gives us tasks to do, all very important. But it gives us something else, and this is so often overlooked. It gives us an opportunity to fulfill a greater life purpose. While you are given the title and task as a nurse or an accountant, you're also given the opportunity to do something that is beyond the job description. And that something is your vocatio, which is Latin meaning calling. And it's where we derive the word vocation. If you will allow, I define a vocation or a calling as a God-given purpose that is revealed to you as you seek to understand, nurture, and deploy into the world your skills, your gifts, and your energy. A God-given purpose that is revealed to me as I seek to understand, nurture, and deploy into the world my skills, my gifts, and my energy. As an example for me, I believe that I'm called to be a disciple of Christ, glorifying the name of God by bringing truth, insight, encouragement, help, wisdom, and perspective to people that God brings across my path. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the importance of the fundamental aspects of work. I believe work is important and it is honoring to God. But without knowing my deeper calling, it's lacking the deeper meaning. I like to think of it like a vehicle or a car or truck, if you will. A vehicle is a tool that is used to fulfill a greater purpose or need. When you buy a car, your need is not a car, your need is transportation. The car or truck or maybe utility van is just what you choose because you think it is best designed to fulfill whatever you need it to transport. In the same way, your job is the vehicle that you use to live out your calling. One is not better than the other. They are different and actually form a necessary sort of symbiotic relationship to, if you will, transport to the world, the people around you, the impact of your calling. You're going to have many different jobs or vehicles in your life. So be equally intent on using your job to live out your calling as you are concerned with choosing the right job. Meaning you spend a lot of time and energy trying to choose the right job, spend as much time and energy living out your calling or discerning your calling as it relates to your job. All right. The third and final perspective is this. What is past is prologue. In my search for life's greater meaning, my calling, I will admit that at times it has felt like I was trying to hold on to jello. One minute I thought I had it firmly in my grasp, and the next it seemed to slip out of my hands. Learning to embrace this process is essential. It's why I think Shakespeare's quote, "What's past is prologue," is so appropriate for our discussion. What Shakespeare was saying is that history sets the context for the present, or more loosely defined, your past can help guide or influence your present day thinking. I love it because when trying to answer the question of why do I exist or what's my purpose in life, it provides a clue as to where to look for the answers. My experience personally and working with others supports my belief that the calling on your life is rooted in the story of your life. Let me say it again. The calling on my life is rooted in the story of my life. With the help of my mentor, coach, and friend, Dick Savage, I did an exercise where I recalled the events and experiences in my life, both positive and negative, good and bad, successes, failures, things that brought me joy, and those things that brought me sadness as well. As I made my list, there's about 35 different life events that I discovered, and I examined it more deeply, I began to see patterns emerge, shedding light on certain gifts, skills, and passions. For instance, when I was about 13 years old, a lady came to our home and was obviously lost. I could tell as my mom was trying to tell her how to get to her destination, which was about a half a mile away. The lady was just not getting it. She was, I think, getting more confused. So I decided, 13-year-old, I decided to step in and show her the way. I told her, "Follow me." And she got back in her car and off I ran down the different streets. I didn't get in the car with her. I just took off running down the different streets while she followed in her car until I got her to her destination. What emerged from this story was that I like being a guide. I like helping people close gaps in their life. And what was validating in the story is that nobody had to ask me to do it. It just emerged out of me. It just felt it was the right thing to do. Or maybe when I was a bit older, I learned to fly fish. I grew up fishing with my dad and my grandfather, and I love fishing. And I love fly fishing even more. The thrill of being able to entice a fish with an imitation of their food source and then having to present it in a way that they would see it and want to devour it. Now, that was pretty awesome. But what I discovered in my story was not the highlight of me catching fish. It was me helping others catch fish. I've had the opportunity to be a guide for others, and I actually get more joy and satisfaction out of helping others catch fish. I didn't realize it at the time when I was helping the lady or being a fishing guide, but embedded in those experiences and many others were indicators of gifts and passions like teaching, guiding, helping, sacrifice, fixing, building, coaching, and mentoring. Finding my calling in life was far less about finding something as if it was lost. And it was more like, and has been more like, a journey of discovery. It started when I was born, and I believe it's going to continue until the day I die. It's a process that involves revelation and evolution, insights that are revealed to me by God and others, and the evolution of my life, the experiences and learnings that emerge as I live out my story. Even this week, a client asked if I have the gift of prophecy based on some counsel I gave him several months ago. Now, I'm not sure about it, but it is an opportunity for me to continue to learn, grow, and evolve my calling. If what's past is prologue, then your past can influence your present day thinking and guide your decision making. So those are the three perspectives. No perfect job. Your job and your calling are different, but inextricably linked. And your calling is rooted in the story of your life. My hope is that they have expanded your thinking as they have mine and will lead you to a place of greater clarity, greater conviction, and greater confidence to make career decisions and, quite frankly, life decisions that are appropriately aligned to your calling. Thanks for watching and make it a great day.